Welcome to Beyond Flow. My name is Tammy, and this is Maria, and we're your hosts. Happy to be here with you today on a subject that is more modern and interesting, in that is the concept of social media and how it is affecting us and what we feel about the positive and not so positive aspects of it. So let's get into that today. So social media, there's so many aspects to social media, but as a general word or concept, that there's a definitely, from a positive perspective, there's the spiritual side or spiritual perspective of social media. When it's consciously used, we can share light, truth, compassion. It's a platform for self-expression, and we can use it for sharing inspired teachings and our own inspirations. And there's amazing people out there working with their platform in a way that I think is making the world a better place. And that's the idea. But then there's also, I think, what has happened in the social media world is sort of the ego aspect and how that's played, comparing themselves, to others or to what they're seeing. It's like putting the attention in a way that's this sort of curated person. And the image that we're seeing and the images that we are connecting with have been created, and it's almost as though there's a lot of illusion. And again, I want to go back to, it's not that everything's like this, because I think there's it's a wonderful platform. So it's just that I think there's also this side that we have to sort of check in with ourselves and come back to balance in some ways, because there's a lot of hurt out there in the social media world too.
Yeah, it's almost, when you talk about the positive of social media, I think it is true. It can connect people from all over the world. You can actually, there's almost really there's no time or space between when something happens and how quick now we can have information, or we can connect to someone right away. So it's almost like it shortened that distance.
Yeah.
But it also made us more distant.
So true.
Because it's not really that real. It's not any different than when we are texting constantly and you're creating almost a
reality, an altered reality.
But it's not real, because this is real.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people, I never know. I know what we're gonna talk about, but we don't have a script. We don't. This is how it is. But I think it is true that social media, and especially like now, I have people that come to the store, and I started hearing ChatGPT a couple of months ago, and people were like, you don't know what ChatGPT is, and AI, and I think it's an amazing tool, as long as we don't give our power.
Yeah.
Because then we don't use our intuition. We're not gonna, I think that, people are doing therapy with ChatGPT and spiritual advisors through ChatGPT, which is, whatever can help you to become better. But we can't forget the human factor.
Yeah.
When it comes to relating to another human being, to feeling the energy of another human being, you can't, that's like I said, that's almost like you're giving your power away. And when I think it's that's why maybe connecting always to source, God, no matter what. Like, Yogananda says, whenever you are about to take an important decision, or you don't know what to do, You don't go and chat GPT the question.
You go within.
You go within.
Yeah.
You go within and you ask God to show you the path.
Because the answers, because and your the answers, because we're kind of now we're talking about AI too,
Right.
but
Which is all like almost like all
it's all
related.
connected in a lot of ways. But it's like the answers, everything isn't intellectual. Like everything can't just be a quick answer or a perfect answer. Where is the heart, and where is the inner guidance that doesn't have words, that is influenced by vibration, right? So you can walk by a flower and see, you can see it. Let's say on a post, you can see a picture, but if you don't have that flower in front of you, there's no way you're going to be able to smell it. So if we don't smell the rose, we aren't going to connect to everything that thing is. So it's like we're dumbing ourselves a little bit. We're becoming, rather than multidimensional, which there's argument that there is an energy that's helping us in these platforms. But I think in a lot of cases, it's making us two-dimensional. It's
and it also it almost feels sometimes that like everybody's an expert of everything.
Yeah.
Like now this person is an expert on relationships, that person is a guru, or you have an astrologer that is 15 years old and giving all this information. And I'm not saying that it's not real, but I think that also we can't just go constantly out there to find ourselves,
right,
to find the answers on someone else's experience, just like us. I'm not a guru. You're not a guru. What we are doing here, I think, is just expressing our truth. And the truth might resonate with some people, and maybe with others, it might not. But then again, it's not about, I'm
an illusion.
It's an illusion, or I'm a teacher, and I'm telling you this is the way to have the perfect connection with. That is inside of you.
Yeah.
That is it's an inside job, like I've always said.
Yeah.
And if we're constantly going out there for answers, then I think that's when, again, we're giving everything that we are to, something outside of us.
Yeah. And I think also the platforms kind of promote a separation and a divisiveness. And I think it's important as conscious people to check ourselves. And I think it's a pretty easy check. When you're posting something or responding to something, ask yourself this question: am I coming from love or lack? That's the question. Because the unconscious, because we have to realize we have you're putting something out. So it's going to be read, it's going to be heard, and
it's going to be shared.
It's going to be shared.
Right.
So gossip, shaming, boasting, these are things that in the universal laws, what you put out comes back. It's a boomerang. Whatever you put out there is going to come back. So when you check yourself on how you are, and so we know those extreme posts and stuff that are just belittling of others, and then but it builds and builds and builds and builds, and it's this never-ending trap of meanness. And down deep inside, that is not what human beings thrive in. It's a destructive choice, right? So when you're coming from love or awareness, anything that you put out there is used to uplift people. When you don't, it's harming people. So now it's like times 10 because it's so much quicker to be shared, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a way of sort of checking ourselves and really being honest, And I think we can all do sort of a self-evaluation, on our participation. And another thing that I was thinking about with regards to sort of the more harmful side is the addiction part. It's like this attachment and addiction that happens because that's what social media is geared to get you to do. It wants to keep you engaged. It wants to feed impulses, cravings, dependency. And I've heard science talk about that. It's like a dopamine hit. The social media, like that constant thing. It serves this sort of chemical thing, and so it becomes reactive emotionally. And so what this does is cause, from a spiritual perspective, and it separates you from stillness. It separates you from inner peace. It disconnects you from the present moment. Obviously we've all seen in a restaurant, you can look around and see everybody's on their phone. They're not talking to each other. You can be on a date and it's like social media takes over, and it's like you have to pick up the phone within 5 minutes to start looking, because if we spend too much in the time in the present, we get uncomfortable. And I think that's harmful too, because being in the present is when you actually don't miss the little magical moment that might be passing by or happening. So that phone is keeping you in a fake world.
I think that's it. I think that's why when you hear like these influencers, that they go through things and they do things that, that you see them very happy, and then you see them very, and then something happens to them. Obviously, that's, the illusion of social media. And I remember when we first started talking about creating the podcast, I remember having this conversation with you. Like, I just don't want people to, I don't want to come across as an influencer, as the last thing I want to do. I just want to speak from my heart. And if that is something that can be helpful, then of course I'm more than on board to do it. But it took me more than a year to really, since we started talking about it, I had to really go within and ask myself, why do I want to? What is my motivation for doing the podcast, for putting ourselves out there?
Yeah.
And I think that is something that, and I like what you said, even if it's not, work related, but every time we put something out there, think about it. Are you doing it because you want likes, you want hearts, you want, to be validated, or you're doing it because you really want to? Like, sometimes I put things on my personal social media, and someone says, I needed to read that today.
Right.
And I try as much as I can to make it a positive platform.
Right. It's a responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a responsibility, and to put out that which we wish for the world to be, right?
Correct.
So we have to, I think it's important to sort of check ourselves, and be responsible with our words, because words carry weight. Names carry weight. Positivity and negativity, they carry weight, and they have an effect. And I think the world is really getting to a place that love is something that is so desperately needed. And anything that promotes that, and we know what our consciousness is when we post something or when we react to something. So if we can feel that somebody's going to read or see that needs something positive in their life, not something hurtful, it might help balance the energy,
And always to, I think if one thing from this is to not to give your power away, that whenever you are going through, you're going to make a decision, or you feel torn, or you feel, go to God. Go to, that's the creator of everything. So we can't forget that as much as we have access to all this information, that we can go to the phone and get anything you want, that at the end of the day, the number one source of every answer and question that we have is God.
It is. And I think for a lot of people, the social media comparison thing, it has created harm too. So it's also to remember that it's two-dimensional. It's most of it is not real. And if you're spending your time comparing yourself to what you're seeing in other people's lives, it is
Complete illusion.
especially
It's illusion.
It's not real.
Yeah.
And I had a customer like an hour ago. We were talking, and she has a client, and that client works with social media. Is an influencer and works with others to help promote their products and stuff. And she went to a meeting, and they were finishing an episode. So she was sitting off to the side, and she was looking at her client, and she looked at her arms, and she said, "Oh my God." She had never seen the amount of scars on the person's arms. It took her back.
Wow.
We were just talking about this, like, I showed her I said, "You're not going to believe the subject we're going to talk about tonight." But anyway, point is, it was so, I felt it, and she was frozen in, like, this person who's famous in another country, famous here, helping other people, but and then we won't go into the specifics, but there's a lot of suffering that's happening.
Yeah.
So it is all just not real. And when you can compare yourself to your own soul, your own perfect self,
Yeah.
because we all are divine, perfect sparks of light and sparks of God. And remember that you are 100% enough, and you are worthy of an amazing life, and to feel love in every aspect. And don't allow anything that brings you down or makes you feel less than to even be a factor in your life. It's not. Absolutely
Amazing.
not. So, okay.
Well, that's so if we're gonna share things on social media, let's do it in a positive
Consciously.
way, and always go within and go to God.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.